England, 1588. For 30 long years, Elizabeth I has ruled with unmatched authority. Yet as night falls, she finds no rest. The face of her cousin, Mary Stuart, haunts her dreams again and again. The woman who had once challenged her claim to the throne, the queen she had condemned to death only a year ago, continues to linger in her thoughts. Who was Mary Stuart, really? What shaped her during her early years? And why did she become the most dangerous rival Elizabeth would ever face? How did the English Secret Service finally silence her ambitions forever? Mary Stuart's story is one of ambition, betrayal, heartbreak, and tragedy. Her life was a tapestry of power struggles, love, and loss, each thread pulling her toward an inevitable fate that would alter the course of two nations forever. Mary Stuart was born in December 1542, the only legitimate child of King James V of Scotland and his French noblewoman wife, Marie de Guise. Her birth should have been a celebration, a symbol of continuity and hope for Scotland. But joy was short-lived. Just 6 days after her arrival, her father died, leaving a newborn child as queen of a kingdom in turmoil. Mary, just an infant, was suddenly Queen of Scotland, queen by the grace of God, although far too young to comprehend the world around her. The responsibility of ruling fell to her mother, Marie de Guise, a woman of formidable intelligence, political skill, and deep Catholic devotion. Scotland at this time was a land of conflict, filled with feuding clans, ambitious nobles, and the constant threat of war with England. Religion, too, divided the country. The Protestant Reformation had begun to challenge the old Catholic order, creating tension that would shape Mary's life from her earliest days. To protect the young queen, her mother placed her behind the secure walls of Scotland's great castles, far from the intrigues and dangers of the outside world. Mary's earliest months were spent in Edinburgh Castle, perched high above the city on black volcanic rock, a symbol of both her power and her isolation. Life did not begin in comfort or safety, but in vigilance, fear, and political maneuvering. Soon she was moved to Stirling Castle, located at the edge of the Highlands, where she would spend her first 5 years in a sheltered yet structured environment. Even as a child, Mary's life was marked by rituals of royalty. At just 9 months old, she was anointed and crowned, officially recognized as queen, though unable to walk or speak. Her mother ensured that she was raised in the Catholic faith, following the traditions of France and remaining entirely separate from Protestant influence. Across the border, her cousin Elizabeth was growing up in a very different world. 9 years older than Mary, Elizabeth was the daughter of Henry VIII, raised Protestant, in a court shaped by her father's break with the Catholic Church. Though the two cousins would meet only later, their fates were intertwined from birth, as if Europe itself had set the stage for their rivalry. Mary's early life was not only about safety, but also about cultivating an image of royalty and legitimacy. Catholic nobles throughout Europe watched her closely, seeing in her a symbol of hope. To them, Elizabeth's Protestant reign was illegitimate, a result of her father's audacious split from Rome. Mary, in contrast, was Catholic, well-connected across Europe, and appeared the ideal ruler to restore England to the old faith. Marie de Guise made a decisive choice. She sent Mary to France to live at the Valois court. There, under the protection of her French relatives, Mary would grow up in opulence and be prepared to marry the heir to the French throne, securing her future as a queen of 2 realms. In France, Mary entered a world that could not have been more different from the rugged castles of Scotland. She lived among splendor and learning, surrounded by music, art, literature, and etiquette. Castles along the Loire, including Fontainebleau and Chambord, became her home, and she grew accustomed to the life of a princess, treated as part of the royal family. Here, every detail of her life was crafted to prepare her for power, from dancing lessons to the study of languages, from learning diplomacy to understanding the complex rules of court life. At 15, she married François, the quiet and sickly heir to the French throne. A year later, his father, King Henry II, died unexpectedly, and the two teenagers became King and Queen of France. For a moment, Mary's life seemed like a fairy tale. She was young, educated, beautiful, and held immense power. The Scottish queen now also wore the crown of France, but happiness was fleeting. Just 2 years after her marriage, François fell gravely ill and died. Mary was 17, widowed, and without an heir. Stripped of her power base in France, her future was suddenly uncertain. The royal court, no longer invested in her, decided she should return to Scotland, her homeland, which she had left as a young child. Mary's return to Scotland was anything but a homecoming. Her mother had passed away, leaving the country leaderless and divided. Clan leaders were fighting each other for power, and Protestant nobles were demanding more influence. Her half-brother, James Stuart, an illegitimate son of her father, had been ruling in her absence, maintaining order in a kingdom she barely remembered. Returning to Scotland, Mary encountered a nation transformed. Religion had divided the land. The northern territories remained largely Catholic, loyal to the old faith, while the south, influenced by England, was increasingly Protestant. Many of the nobles she was meant to govern were strangers, shaped by different experiences, beliefs, and loyalties. On top of this, Mary was young, widowed, and alone in a male-dominated world. Her claim to the English throne, strengthened by King Henry II's assertion that she was the rightful Queen of England and Ireland, created suspicion in Elizabeth's court and laid the foundation for one of history's most famous rivalries. By 1564, Mary was still unmarried, and the pressure to choose a husband weighed heavily upon her. Marriage was not only a political necessity, but a personal ambition, a way to assert her role as queen and mother of the next generation of monarchs. Suitors from across Europe sought her hand, including the powerful King Philip II of Spain. Yet Mary chose Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, a man from her own extended royal family. Darnley was young, handsome, Catholic, and of royal blood, making him a suitable partner to strengthen her position in Scotland and, potentially, England. Mary and Darnley married in July 1565, and 3 months later, Mary became pregnant. The birth of their son, James, in June 1566, brought hope and joy to Scotland. The nation celebrated, believing in the continuation of a strong royal line. Yet not all were pleased. Her half-brother, James Stuart, now the Earl of Moray, felt his power slipping away and began to plot against her. Tensions escalated, leading to open conflict between Mary and Protestant nobles. Tragedy struck again. Darnley became reckless, spending his days in indulgence, gambling, and drinking. He grew distant from Mary, and 4 months after James's birth, he fell ill with smallpox and retired to a house outside Edinburgh. In the dead of night, an explosion tore through the house. Darnley was found dead in the garden, with no burns but strange bruises on his neck. Rumors spread quickly. James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell, was suspected of murder. Though acquitted, the scandal tainted Mary's reign and set the stage for further tragedy. Shortly afterward, Bothwell seized control of Mary's life. Capturing her for 3 weeks, he forced a marriage while she was pregnant, under circumstances still debated by historians. Scotland was plunged into civil war, with royalists loyal to Mary clashing with powerful Protestant lords. Battles raged in mud, blood, and chaos, leaving Mary defeated and Bothwell fleeing into exile. Captured, Mary was forced to abdicate. Her infant son James became King of Scotland under the guardianship of her half-brother. Mary herself was imprisoned in Lochleven Castle, suffering a miscarriage and the crushing weight of betrayal. Yet Mary's spirit remained unbroken. She escaped in a daring operation and raised a small army, only to face defeat once more. Alone, defeated, she fled to England, seeking protection, only to be placed under house arrest by Elizabeth I. For 19 years, Mary appeared powerless to the world, confined behind castle walls. Yet in secret, she continued to plot. She never abandoned her claim to the English throne. Elizabeth's spymaster, Walsingham, monitored her closely, waiting for a mistake. Finally, Mary was implicated in a plot to assassinate Elizabeth, agreeing in a letter to her murder. The proof was undeniable. Mary was tried, convicted of high treason, and executed under the axe. Her death marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Elizabeth remained alone and unmarried. Yet the crown eventually passed to Mary's son, James, after Elizabeth died in 1603. With him, the crowns of Scotland and England were united, and the centuries-long conflict finally ended. Mary Stuart's descendants would go on to rule England, her legacy forever entwined with tragedy, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of a throne that was almost always just beyond her grasp. Mary's life was a story of contrasts, luxury and isolation, power and vulnerability, love and betrayal. She experienced triumph and defeat, hope and despair, and yet, through every trial, her name became immortal. A queen by birth, a ruler by ambition, and a tragic figure by circumstance, Mary Stuart's life reminds us that the path of royalty is often paved with heartbreak, danger, and decisions that echo across generations. Her story of love, loss, and relentless struggle continues to fascinate the world, a testament to the complexity and tragedy of life at the very top of power.